Hello everyone. So I actually wanted to share a specific sighting with all of you, and it's one from my copies of the Serengeti trip, which I hosted in June of this year. But it's a sighting that has happened fairly often in the Mara now over the last 2 weeks with Johan and Andrew, and now with Mike and Grant, and that is a lioness carrying a cub. I'll include the video at the end of this for you all to see it. But I just wanted to touch on how special it actually is. In my guiding career, as I've mentioned before, I was a full-time guide for just over 9 years, and in that time I saw it very seldomly. I think I saw a lion carrying a cub twice, and I was privileged also to see a leopard carrying a cub once. So it is extremely special, and why I say that is, if you look at the different reserves, I'll take the Sabi Sands for example. It's not a common occurrence to see something like this. I think it's something that a lot of people that do get the privilege to see it don't quite appreciate how rare it is. And why I say that is there's a lot of trust that needs to be built between the animal and us, and it's not something that's formed overnight. It's something that takes years and years and years of work, getting animals habituated and used to the vehicles, and then operating in a manner around them where they trust you enough to obviously perform their natural behavior and go about their daily business. Now, this specific sighting to me was very, very special, as I've mentioned the reasons already, but it happened one afternoon in an area in the Serengeti around a rocky outcrop called Boma Koppies. And what actually happened was that we arrived there late afternoon, just before heading back to camp, and we were told by one of the other vehicles that there's a lioness with very, very small cubs inside a thicket. Now, from where we were positioned, we could only see pretty much the lioness's tail. Now, obviously, she's keeping them around these rocks. It's a great area as a den site. There's a lot of shelter, caves, crevices for the little ones to hide while mom goes off and hunts. But what was really unusual about this situation was the rest of the pride was in the area. So there was a young male that was lying just outside the den site. He must have been about 2.5 years old. And especially with young cubs around, mom wouldn't really feel too comfortable with the rest of the pride, as well as a young male in the area. If she were to get up and move off, the young male might get inquisitive, go in, have a look, sniff around, and pretty much anything could happen, because I'm pretty sure he's not the dad either. Still young, still playful, and I've seen it time and time again where older siblings are not as gentle as they should be, and it's all out of play, but things can go horribly wrong. So we sat there for a little bit. We then left her and we went and viewed the rest of the pride that was lying up on some rocks, got some images there. Something in my gut just said to me, let's go back there, spend a bit more time, and just see if we get lucky with the lioness coming out or a glimpse of these youngsters in the rocks. And it just shows you how unpredictable nature is. We got there, we waited about 5 minutes. We were the only vehicle there, and we heard a little bit of groaning and moaning from inside the bushes, and we were just pretty much sitting there chatting on the vehicle, and waiting to see what would happen. And out of nowhere, this lioness walked straight out the thicket with this cub in her mouth. And it's the feeling that you get when you see that, especially when it's such a surprise, is incredible. So she picked up this cub, she walked across in front of us through a clearing. We managed to get ourselves composed, get some images, and we followed her for a little bit because we wanted to see where she was going to stash the cub if she was moving her den site. So we followed her to about 150 meters away, where she then hid the youngster in another cave, and then started her walk back towards her first den site. So we thought, okay, well, let's go back, let's position ourselves, get into the right area, and hopefully she's got more than one cub. I mean, we didn't know how many cubs there were. Get ourselves into a position and then just sit quietly, and make sure that obviously our settings and everything were ready for the shot, and see what happens and see if we can get lucky with her bringing out a second cub, if she had a second cub. So we went, positioned ourselves. About 5 minutes later, she came strolling back went straight into the same bush, and just with binoculars through the thicket, we could see her trying to potentially pick another cub up or sniff around. It was very, very difficult to see what was going on. And all while this was happening, the young male was still lying peacefully on the side. So very unusual that she was happy to move it and leave the den site unattended for 10-15 minutes or so. But anyway, so we sat there quietly, and next thing, she came out with her second cub in the mouth, and once again literally walked pretty much towards the vehicle, across us through this big clearing. She put the cub down to try and reposition it, pick it up again, and then she moved it to the den site. And she had 3 cubs, so we were fortunate enough to see it happen 3 times. When she walked with the second cub to her new den site, we didn't follow her. It's obviously a very sensitive time as well, and it's what I was talking about that trust factor. She was so trusting of us that we weren't going to do anything or disturb her and move her cub, that it's only right for us to show her the respect and to sit and be patient. And she then came back, got the third one, and she walked off to the den site. Once again, we didn't follow her to the den site to see if we could get a better look at them. We were pretty spoiled to have witnessed it 3 times in a clearing right in front of us and being the only vehicle there. So an extremely incredible moment. It's one that I'm going to remember for a very, very long time, but it's also something that I want you all to remember. If you have witnessed it before or you do witness it, it's an extremely special moment that shouldn't be taken for granted. And I want you all just to remember how much work and effort the guides on the ground, the local guides, put into making sightings like this a possibility, because it really is special. And yeah, with that said, here's the video coming up. It's a very short video, but such an incredible experience. If you haven't witnessed it, I hope that you all get to witness it at some point in the future. But until next time, I'm going to say cheers. Enjoy the video.